Hello and welcome back to Bite Size Pixels. In this tutorial we will be adding more CSS content following the tutorials you may have watched so far. When you first go into your style sheet you will see all of your elements all set up and ready to go. Now we want to click into our code section to allow us to see our style sheet all in full like this. We're first going to work on our header today, so first of all we've already got our background colours in place. We just want to create a width for this. So we're going to make this 960 pixels today, followed by the semicolon. We're also going to add the height into this as well. And I'm going to make this 300 pixels to just allow for maybe a logo or a bit of text to go in at a later date, but for now this will be perfect. And I'm next going to add the width and height to our navigation bar as well. So for the width we're going to put this again at 960 pixels, but we don't want the height to be massive for this one, so we're only going to put this at 60 pixels. For our aside column I'm going to make this a width of 280 pixels. And we will add a height of 700. As this is where our main content might go, it needs to be quite tall to be able to display a lot of information. And the next thing we might want to do is add some height to our section. So again, 680 pixels, and for this we want a minimum height . We'll give this 700 pixels, and this will allow the section element to grow with extra content but not be so reduced that you can't see it, so that's why we have minimum height there. Okay, so we have our minimum height, and the next thing we want to do is add the same height and width to our article sections. So again we give it a height, and we'll give this 250 pixels. Also give it a width of 600 pixels, and again for her footer we only want a small height for this one, so we'll give this just 100 pixels and a width of 960. So this is so that it will match our header. Our live view, we can then see that we have all of our elements all styled. Might look a bit strange at the moment, but you'll see that it will soon change. So what we need to do now, if we save all of this, just to make sure we don't lose it, we go into our code and we can actually add something called a margin. To create a margin in our header, so what we actually do is write margin bottom for this one, and we want this to display 20 pixels. So if we go into our live view and scroll up, you should see that it's actually got a gap underneath, and this is what we want just for this design purely, just so we can see a difference in them and see how it all works. So what we're going to do now is we can also add a bottom margin to our navigation. We'll also do this for 20 pixels. And if we view, you should notice that your navigation also has a gap there. We're also going to add float to our other elements as well now. So we have our float in our header, and we want to create a float for our navigation as well. floats to our side. Float to our section. Floats to our article. And finally, a float to our footer. You'll notice that I've put left on all of these. This will ensure that all of the content should hopefully float left and be in the correct order. So here you can see, if you go into your live view, that all of your sections are all divided, but they're also all in order. If you view any of these before floating all of them, it might just overlap a little, that's all. But once you've put all of the correct code in, it should all look correct. So the last thing we want to do now is just add a bit of margin to the bottoms of a few elements so that you can see how it will change the structure slightly. So go to your article and just put margin top. Just want to put this at 25 pixels. Margin left. We'll put 20 pixels for that one. On our footer, we'll also put a margin top. That's 20 pixels for that one. So hopefully if that's all correct, go to your live and then you should see gaps in between your header and your navigation, and then underneath your aside and section bit as well. Okay, and that's it for this tutorial. Thank you for watching.